guys. Hi, Judy. You're the only one here. My name is Debbie. Welcome to my channel. We are in the middle of closing arguments on the Brendan Banfield case because we got way behind because I was sick. So we are in the middle of the defense closing argument. So we're going to do defense closing argument and then rebuttal and then verdict because I want to get done with this thing. Watched an interview with an attorney who said it is highly unlikely that the judge would not honor the plea agreement. Well, that stinks. The attorney said if judges don't honor the plea agreements, defense attorneys will be hesitant to negotiate them. Yeah, hey, Nancy. Yeah, but this is a different situation. They gave her a slap on the wrist so she would flip on him. And she committed murder and was part of the conspiracy and everything, too. She should at least give her some more time. If not the whole 10, some more time. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I understand what that attorney's saying. It makes sense, but I don't think so. She's a little witch. Hey, Marty. I believe her story. I don't think that she came to America as an au pair with good intentions, though. I don't think she planned on killing anybody, but like I said, you don't go from being an innocent little girl to murder. I mean, how many of you, there's only 3 people in here, but replay crew, how many of you do you think, having never ever hurt anybody before, if somebody was wounded, because he'd already been shot in the head, so if somebody was wounded, that you would be able to pick up a gun and then shoot them again when they're already mortally wounded? I couldn't do that. Like, who does that? She deserves 10 years. I'm thinking maybe, at the very least, she thought she was going to come over here and marry an American so she could stay in the country. That's what I was thinking. And then all this happened. But I still, I have
Thank you. Mr. Gray, you can continue. Thank you.
And it's not loaded. I don't even know if we have bullets for it. I inherited it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we left off in the discussion of the bloodstain pattern analysis. And what was an interesting moment in terms of the experts was when there was talk of bloodstain inside the zipper and around that area. But if you look at the DLI report, which is number 169, you'll see in that report,
DLI report,
they were looking actually for touch DNA. They weren't actually looking for blood staining. They identified blood staining, but the whole point of it was to find Brendan Banfield's touch DNA.
The first offer they gave her was a misdemeanor. I forgot what it was, but it would have given her a misdemeanor. And she turned that down. Now she's at least got a felony.
On the inside of Joe's pants, based upon some theory that he was either pulling the pants off or moving them or something like that. And that was one of the reasons why they went to a private lab to try to do that. And it didn't pan out. And you'll see the report. Now, in terms of the evidence on the bloodstain pattern analysis, let me just do a rundown. With regard to the knife, it was identified as being bloodstained. Leanne Singley said that. She negated the possibility of anything being wiped off, which might be one of the things that you might find in a situation of the nature of the government's theory, but she's negated that. That it contained DNA of Christine and Ryan, and Brendan was excluded. That Joe Ryan's DNA at the base of the blade, handle juncture, that was the testimony of Leanne Singley and also confirmed by the Division of Forensic Science. That Ryan had a puncture to the left thumb, that was Leanne Singley's testimony, as well as the medical examiner, Dr. Kessler, confirmed that. It was consistent with the knife,
It's warmed up here.
Dr. Kessler said, and it was consistent with the self-wounding that happens in situations involving stabbings. And you heard Leanne Singley touch on that, and she was able to kind of give you a more circumspect view of what self-wounding was. I think Ms. Groff talked about slicing, fingers or sliding or something like that. What we were looking for, and what I think Leanne Singley was able to tell you, is that there are a wide variety of injuries that occur, but oftentimes the stabber is someone that's injured. And I think there were significant statistics that she talked about, which I won't try. You'll have to rely on your recollections regarding that. You saw on the body cam footage, as well as through Ms. Singley's testimony, that Brendan does not have any injuries on his hands. And Ms. Dolly's testimony indicates Ryan's right hand closed when blood was deposited on it. That's consistent with Ryan holding the knife when stabbing, causing blood stains. Joe Ryan.
No, it's not.
There's a lot to be said, and I think you've already seen pictures of it in this closing, of the 4 stains on Ryan's forearm. What hasn't been said is that they were not tested.
Well, I'm a nurse, so I can't kill people.
Leanne Singley says they're not able to be classified.
You shouldn't kill people.
Ms. Groff disagrees, saying that they are drip stains. She needs to say they're drip stains, which Leanne Singley says you can't say because you don't know the position of the arm. You don't know where it was at the time the blood came out. It could have been something from a significant bleeder as he's standing up. It could have been from numerous other possibilities. But Ms. Groff classifies something that Ms. Singley says you can't classify without certain factors, suggesting that it's falling from above and has Ryan on the floor. One might think you'd find the source of whatever that blood is if you're to have tested the blood that's in question. That might give you a little more guidance. And I think that's one of the reasons Leanne Singley was unable to identify that. If it was from Joe, then she'd probably have some explanation for that as an expert. If it was from anyone else, that perhaps could be a different explanation. But now all we deal with are possibilities. And that seems to be the crux of how the Commonwealth is pursuing this case. They're not putting on any evidence in terms of their own investigators. They're not providing any concrete evidence as to what happened that day. And interestingly enough, the shift in the last closing argument was that I hadn't been doing that. And the defense hadn't been doing that. But I think we can all agree that we've called significantly greater number of police witnesses because we had to. Because we want the truth out here. I called my client, though he has the absolute right not to come up and testify, and he testified. And the relationship issues with Juliana Perez Magalhães are touchy, and they're an awful story. But he sat there and he answered the questions. He was cross-examined. He answered those questions. We're bringing you the truth. We're trying in every way to get the truth. And many of the Fairfax County detectives have provided that, and that goes to their integrity. The genes, the touch DNA from the waistband zipper, indicate Joe Ryan and Christine Banfield are the contributors. Brendan Banfield is excluded. All samples collected and tested on Ryan were from Joe Ryan or Christine. Brendan not identified as a contributor in any of them. Nothing in the materials reviewed gave any indication that Ryan was not the stabber. That was Leanne Singley's testimony. Brendan's jacket, blood on the rear of the right sleeve, DNA on exterior of right sleeve, mix of Ryan and Christine. Brendan indicates that Ryan grabbed his arm on Officer Beckner's video, Officer Baumler's video, in the ambulance, and also in the hospital. Brendan's jeans, The small stains on the thigh is consistent with cast off from the hands. That's Miss Dolly, Miss Groff. Brendan sat in the bathroom, if you look on the video, and the first responders arrived. He was basically told to sit on the tub. And you see him when you look at that video, and he's sitting there, and he's just, hands down, not sure where his hands go. And he was watching as his wife was being tended to. The stains on Brendan's jeans are consistent with him kneeling at Christine giving aid. That's what the body cam video shows. Back to the digital forensics for a moment. February 19th was a critical day because that was the beginning of the Telegram account. Juliana says she watched Brendan. They stole the laptop and the phone. They deleted the two-factor authentication code.
I think it's
But the two-factor authentication code remains on the phone to this day. And this is Defense Exhibit 156. Is it possible that Brendan and Juliana did this without Christine knowing that a Telegram account was opened in her name? It's not, based on this exhibit. Because if you look at it, and you can look at the message from Telegram, shows up right underneath a message from Brad of Innova PICU, and right above a message from Nicole at Innova PICU. It was done early in the morning. If it had been done by someone other than herself, as soon as she looks at that message from Nicole, she'd realize something's going on. I should check this out. Inconsistent with catfishing, inconsistent with someone pursuing a fantasy. February 23rd. We saw digital forensics evidence from the evening of February 23rd. We saw use of Christine's laptop for 90 minutes for resort searches, with a couple of minutes of Telegram use interspersed. The Commonwealth in cross-examination opined, well, wouldn't it be possible that even if you were sitting in the same room, that she could have gone away to go to the bathroom for 2 minutes? And I guess, in this world, anything's possible. Is it probable, however? And that's really the more germane point to this.
This is probable.
The Commonwealth's, I guess, concern in cross-examination was confirmed, at least in terms of the room, when Brendan testified. And if you recall his discussion, we were talking about, we were already going on a cruise and we were talking about going to the Dominican Republic. We saw the calendar that showed the place, Royalton Resorts. We showed the searches that showed kid-friendly vacations. So we knew who was behind the keyboard, and Brendan knew who was behind the keyboard because he was there with Christine. And they were collaborating on the vacation research. Brendan was playing with Valerie, and Christine was on the couch with her laptop and her phone. That's the testimony. The device's symmetry and connectivity you heard about has the context to complete the entire picture. Juliana was not in the room. This is supported by the analysis on her phone, showing a steady stream of messaging, social media use, and Netflix at the same time that Telegram, FetLife, and the suspect Gmail account were being used by Christine. And finally, February 24th, Juliana was not awake, not out of bed, based on her devices at the time she claimed to be watching Brendan Banfield sending messages in the kitchen. You heard Mr. Litsky talk about her Apple Watch. You heard him talk about her phone. We're showing when steps were showing, which would be an indication of someone moving. She had not moved for some time after the laptop was accessed. What we know from the testimony yesterday was that Christine Banfield had the laptop and the phone in her bedroom and was awake when he went up to retrieve Valerie. That is an artifact in the world of digital forensic analysis. And you'll see this entire exchange, Defense Exhibit 348, 349, 350. You'll see Juliana Perez Magalhaes' first steps at 6:26. Defense Exhibit 351, 352, and 353. Juliana Perez starts her day after the Telegram message is already sent, in conflict with what she's told, in conflict with the story that she's adopted on behalf of the Commonwealth. Brendan's at McDonald's. Exhibit 354, 355, 356. Those are timestamped screenshots from the McDonald's videos. Juliana is on the phone telling us her phone tells us that her activity stops at 7:24 under Defense Exhibit 357. At the exact same time, her watch steps are stopping at 7:24. Defense Exhibit number 358. Defense Exhibit 359, Juliana steps resuming on the phone at 7:41. Exhibit 360, Juliana, car is parked at 7:41. Exhibit 361, Juliana's watch resuming steps at 7:42. We know that Brendan was out of the house. We know that Juliana was in her car. And if you look at Exhibit 362, there's someone who's logging into Christine's laptop at 7:33. There are no other humans in the house. And Juliana and Brendan were not there. In conflict with the government's theory, Christine logs into her laptop and places her devices in a drawer. She puts the devices away. She gets Lily down into the basement, brings her food to the basement, and gates her in. And she meets Joe Ryan. And they walk up to the master bedroom. Why? Why would Joe Ryan stab Christine? If you take away the consensual part of this, if he were found in a bedroom of someone by someone who's a police officer, he'd be looking at a life sentence. In this instance, he was confronted by an armed law enforcement officer saying police. That officer was standing in the only way to get out of that room, other than jumping through the window and falling down 3 flights. He had a gun trained on him, and he was telling him and was told that he was going to be arrested. He had marijuana in his system, and he was angry. Who was he angry at? Could he have been angry at Christine, thinking that she set him up? Could he have been angry at his situation for deciding to go into a house that he didn't know and put himself in this situation? Could he be angry at my client, who was there to try to figure out what was going on and ultimately try to protect his wife? Those are the whys. And if we'd had any investigators that were actually involved in the case coming to the stand, those would be questions that I would want to know, and there would be questions that you would want to know. Because you have a decision before you, and that decision requires a review of all of the evidence. Now, is it reasonable after a 6 to 8 week affair that someone's going to try to get rid of their companion of 19 years, wife of 12 years? Is that reasonable? You heard from my client, he thinks it's absurd. In pursuing this case, the Commonwealth has presented absolutely no forensic evidence that supports that Brendan Banfield had anything to do with this, yet the story continues. This isn't how justice works, and you can't just come up with a theory and make it fit. They're trying to sell you a story without any facts, and we have the facts, and those facts are in evidence. Those jury instructions, when you see them, you'll realize they're very clear. If you have doubts about the investigation, if you have doubts about how they've conducted this investigation, if you believe that there's something that's been held back in this investigation, that's reasonable doubt. That's reasonable doubt before you even get into the things that negate the possibilities of their case. And these are hard decisions. There's a lot on the line. But know this, if they fell short in what you expect should be the investigation, if they fell short, that's not on you. The jury instructions say you must acquit. And it's not on you. I don't have another opportunity to talk to you. It's their burden to prove this beyond a reasonable doubt, so they get the opportunity to speak. So I apologize if I've gone too long, but I wanted to make sure that these important issues came before you. And might leave you with these words. When they lie and manipulate to get someone to make a statement, that's not discovering the truth. That's planting the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention. Thank you for your patience. And at the end of your deliberations, I ask that you find my client not guilty of all charges. Thank you.
All right. Rebuttal argument. Switch over to Mike again, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks. All right, just a couple of last words. Mr. Carroll has a really interesting recollection of the evidence. It certainly doesn't match ours, and I'm guessing it doesn't match yours. FYI, the lab for the coat was 165, not 167. And the DLI lab, it doesn't say anywhere on it that it was touch DNA. It was blood that they tested. Juliana did not repeatedly say that she didn't know how to work Gmail. She said that she did not create the Gmail account, that was Brendan. Giaccio and Bruce had the catfish plan and they peddled it and pushed it to everyone. I don't think that's at all what came out. I think that Mr. Carroll is trying to focus on the HR woes of the Fairfax County Police Department to distract you from the fact that the evidence actually supported that theory and that he has provided you and his client has provided you with absolutely nothing to refute that theory. Why was there so much discussion and disagreement over the digital evidence? Because it could never be that smoking gun. You all heard it from their expert. You can't put someone behind that screen unless you're sitting next to them. So as much as we want it to tell the story here, as much as we want it to be the perfect evidence that proves beyond a reasonable doubt that this thing had to happen, the digital evidence just isn't that. We wish it were, but it's not. And Detective Miller did nothing wrong, and Mr. Lidsky did nothing wrong. They just told you the truth. And the truth is that they can tell you what a device was doing, but they can't tell you who was using the device. Juliana Perez Magalhães' testimony was bought and paid for. Yes, she pled guilty to a lesser offense in exchange for her testimony. Ms. Frissler made sure you knew that from the get-go. Juliana talked about that. She explained for her reasons why. Nothing was hidden. After her sentence, it sounds like she might have the opportunity to make, 10 grand off of selling her story. She said that she would use that to support her family. And then what? Is she gonna work as a nanny? I mean, she's a convicted murderer. Do we really think that it is so reasonable that she made up this complete lie for 10 grand? Really? If this version is correct, coming from Mr. Banfield, then she would be set free. She would be as not guilty as he would be. So she's going to give up that shot for 10 grand? I just don't buy it. Whose story is more credible here? Juliana's or Mr. Banfield's? Whose version does the rest of the evidence support? The defendant took the stand and he lied. And he lied about collateral matters. He told you that he had a big career-defining work meeting the morning of the murder. And then you heard from his boss who said, no, he didn't. He lied. He said that he and Juliana did not have a plan to kill Christine at the time that they went to the shooting range. Well, he said not at that time. If he's lying about the things that don't matter, how can you believe a single word he said? And ladies and gentlemen, you have to do that in this case, because without some alternate theory, The Commonwealth's evidence is uncontroverted. So you got to pick one. Juliana, Mr. Banfield. Whose story does the evidence support? All of that blood, the DNA, to some extent, the digital forensics, the physical evidence collected at the scene. That's what you can rely on. Don't rely on his narrative and his recollection of the evidence. For that reason, don't rely on mine or on Ms. Frisler's. Rely on yours. It is your collective recollection of the evidence that you have heard that is controlling. You know what was said here. You know what the evidence is. We trust you to make the decision. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Members of the jury, this is an important case to both the Commonwealth and the defendant. In order to reach a verdict, each of you must agree on that verdict. In other words, the verdict must be unanimous. The first thing you should do when you get back to the jury room is to select a presiding juror. The role of the presiding juror is to see to it that the deliberations are conducted in an orderly and businesslike manner, that they are conducted only
WUSA 9 News at 5.
I understand. You can be seated. Thank you. I understand we have a verdict. Are we ready for the jury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, just a reminder that I cannot tolerate any outbursts in the courtroom at the time of the verdict reading, please. Thank you. All right. And juror number 9, you were the foreperson in this case, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And are these the verdicts of the jury?
Yes, it is.
And are they unanimous?
Yes, it is.
In criminal case number FE 2024-666, count 1, we, the jury on the issue, join in the case of the Commonwealth of Virginia versus Brendan Robert Banfield, defendant, find the defendant guilty of aggravated murder of Joseph Ryan and Christine Banfield as part of the same act or transaction. Case number FE 2024-666, count 4. We, the jury on the issue, joined in the case of the Commonwealth of Virginia versus Brendan Robert Banfield, defendant, find the defendant guilty of aggravated murder of Joseph Ryan within the same 3-year period during which he did also kill and murder Christine Banfield. In case number FE 2024-666, count 5, we, the jury on the issue, joined in the case of the Commonwealth of Virginia versus Brendan Robert Banfield, defendant, find the defendant guilty of using a firearm in the commission of a felony. In case number FE 2024-873, count 1, we, the jury on the issue, joined in the case of the Commonwealth of Virginia versus Brendan Robert Banfield, defendant, find the defendant guilty of child endangerment.
All right. Would either side like the jury polled?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Members of the jury, if this is your verdict, please answer yes. If this is not your verdict, please answer no. Juror number 2. Juror number 5.
Yes.
Juror number 9.
Yes.
Juror number 10.
Yes.
Juror number 12?
Yes.
Juror number 19?
Yes.
Juror number 22?
Yes.
Juror number 25?
Yes.
Juror number 28?
Yes.
Juror number 32?
Yes.
Juror number 34?
Yes.
Juror number 37?
Yes.
Thank you.
The court does find that the jury verdict is unanimous at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, this completes your service in this case, and I know I speak for everybody that we thank you in this difficult case for all the time and attention you've taken to it. I do need to go back to the jury room for one more time, and I'll be back there in a few minutes just to talk to you before you leave, okay? All right, so you're excused to the jury room. Thank you. All right. Mr. Banfield, in accordance with the jury verdict, I do find you guilty of aggravated murder on count 1 of 2024-666, and also count 4 of 2024-666, and count 5, commission of a felony with a firearm of 2024-666. Also, on count 1 of 873 of child endangerment, I do find you guilty as found by the jury. Do you wish to have a pre-sentence investigation report, Mr. Carroll?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'll order a pre-sentence investigation report for this case. What date did you want to set this for?
I don't know what dates you would have available.
I could set it for, do you plan to have victim impact statements, I
Yes, ma'am.
assume, and testimony? I mean, I could put it on, well, any day before July 1st.
Understood.
I'm retired then, so let's pick, is April far enough for you, Mr. Carroll?
I may just look at my schedule.
Sure.
Would there be a particular date?
April 17th is my sentencing day.
Okay.
Judge, that is the one day in April we would not.
Can't do, okay. Well, we can make it a different date in April. I mean, I do have March 20th, but that might be too quick.
I think they said May.
And April 17th doesn't work for your company?
No,
No,
but
unfortunately.
if you don't
We do-
want to go to, I mean, we could go to May 8th. I have May 8th available, or I could make it any Friday that you want to go to in April, if that's too far for you, Mr. Carroll.
May 8th is available, Judge. It's only 2 weeks away from April 17th.
Okay, May
so-
8th.
That's fine.
All right, we'll set it for sentencing then on May 8th, and we have the pre-sentence investigation report by that time. And if you need it for a special time, just let me know if we need to move it from the
Yes,
10
ma'am.
o'clock time.
As soon as we've
Okay?
had a chance to speak with
All
the
right.
witnesses and the victims' families.
All right, anything further for this matter at this time?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Judge.
All rise.
Yeah, 2 life sentences plus some years. He's never getting out of jail. Yay, we did it. Okay, so we're done with these 2 trials. Okay, I wrote myself a note, so I wouldn't forget. I have a question. You guys don't answer my questions fast enough, and I feel like an idiot just sitting here. Do you think that defense lawyers really believe that their client is innocent? Do you really think that guy believed his story? And the other thing that I meant to tell you guys when it first happened, and I forgot, and I don't remember. You don't think he believed him? That would be so hard for me to do. I don't think I could get up there and defend somebody that I knew was guilty. I don't have it in me. So I don't remember which video it was. It was a trial, but I got like a copyright notice on it. Apparently, when certain documentaries decide they're going to take pieces out of the trial to put in their documentary, it gets copyrighted and I can't use it anymore, which I think is stupid. So, and I don't remember which trial it was. I think I had to delete a whole day of trial, or almost a whole day of trial. And then I just got one for day 2 of this one. And it was Juliana's testimony, parts of her testimony. So if you go back to watch my, like if you missed day 2 and you want to catch it again, you're going to miss part of her testimony. So don't watch it from me, watch it from Court TV or somewhere. But I guess that means she's getting her Netflix deal or whatever. If somebody has copyrighted portions of her testimony, man, it makes me mad. Like, I get copyrighted music and taking out copyrighted music, and I'm okay with that. But this is a trial. It's a public trial. They shouldn't be allowed to copyright portions of it just because they put it in a documentary. Well, I guess they must pay YouTube some money. Or no, it wouldn't be YouTube. It would be Court TV, I think. Who would they be buying the footage from? Court TV? No. But Law and Crime shows the same trial, so I don't know. But and I don't remember what the other trial was, but I had to cut out. I still can't remember if it was the whole video. It was almost the whole video if it wasn't the whole video. Okay, so I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow. Friday, I'm just gonna take off because I'm gonna be out of town again this weekend, and I'm gonna be on a fundraiser live stream from Epcot Saturday afternoon, at 4, and I don't know how many hours it lasts, how long I'm gonna be there. So I'm gonna take Friday off to rest up and charge my scooter and charge cameras and that kind of whatever I might need, and just rest because I'm not sleepy. I'm actually having trouble sleeping, yet I'm exhausted, and there's no way to explain that unless you have a chronic illness with those symptoms. There's no way to explain how you can be exhausted and not sleepy at the same time, but I need another day to rest. Oh, thank you, Nancy. I'm never going to get well. I'll have good days and bad days, but I'm never going to get well. So I'm going to put up a poll for what next trial for our trials of the past. Alex Murdaugh, Johnny Depp v. Amber Heard, which I'll do it. I don't know if I can stomach her though, because I can't stand that woman. Gran Amato, and The Staircase. Those were the 4. The Staircase was the guy that killed his wife and said that first he said she fell down the stairs, and he said she was wearing those shoes again. I kept telling her those shoes were going to end up killing her one day. So he blamed her shoes and made her trip to fall down the stairs. Then he said he concocted the story, or his neighbor concocted the story. On one of the documentaries I saw, they talked to his neighbor about the owl theory. Supposedly an owl flew into their house and attacked her and made her fall down the stairs. So, I have not watched the trial. I've watched lots of documentaries about it. He ended up taking an Alford plea, but I don't know. Like, he was in jail for a while, and then he got out, and then he had I don't know the whole timeline of events with him. I was going to watch, actually, I started watching, there's a documentary called The Staircase on, I can't remember if it's Netflix or HBO. I think it's Netflix. So I started watching it, and I got to the part where they were talking to Werner Spitz, Dr. Werner Spitz, and I was like, "Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I do not want to hear from this guy again." I do not want to hear from this guy again. But if that's what you guys vote on, I do want to watch the trial though, but I just don't want to have to listen to him. He was in the Phil Spector trial, I think. So I'll get that poll up. So I'm not going to stream tomorrow or Friday. I'll be back on Monday. Look for the poll and vote, and that will decide the documentary's better than the trial. Probably. So Brandon. Who's Brandon? Brendan, the guy that just got found guilty? There's all kinds of documentaries about him. Oh. Well, that's what you get. That's what you get. No, it's okay, Marty. I was confused for a minute. Typos are a thing. It's fine. I just was confused. Who's Brendan? Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Yeah, he's gonna end up being somebody's boyfriend. That's horrible. Bad Debbie. Bad Debbie. Oh my gosh. My husband doesn't remember names either. He did, like, I'll be talking about a friend and he'll go, wait. Now is this one the one that's married to this one and has this dog, or like, no. Is that the one that lives in Tennessee? No. He doesn't remember anybody's names. And every once in a while when I'm talking about someone that he does know, I'm like, oh my God, he knows who I'm talking about. It's like, I get excited. I'm like, oh cool, I don't have to explain. Okay, guys, so I will see you on Monday. Hopefully, you guys will have figured out what trial we're going to do next. And then Sunday night, I can sit down and prepare for it. And then we will do it Monday morning. And then, of course, whatever new trial comes about next week, we will do. And I set it to redirect to my friend's channel, who is live at Hollywood Studios right now. I'm sure not all of you are going to want to go, but if you do. Okay, guys, I will see you Monday morning. Have a great weekend. And remember, be kind to people, love your family, and Jesus loves you. And so do I. What? That's what you asked about his height? What does height have to do with it? What happens to tall people in prison? Or not tall, whatever. What about his height? What does that have to do with whether he's going to do good in prison or not? Oh, so if you're like a taller, bigger person, you survive better. So like if he's a little shrimpy dude, gotcha. I don't know. Okay, guys, I'll see you Monday morning. Bye.